This is part two of my earlier video on Everquest tips, tricks, theorizing. It's probably my last significant Bard video. When I first started this, I spent 3 minutes on this chart, and I realized what I need to say is take it with a grain of salt. It's very personal. It's just meant to give me an idea of what I want to put in my spell lineup, what seems to matter and what doesn't. What I learned was that amplification matters more than I thought it would. That enhances singing skills. That's aria and aura. And that aria plus aura is probably statistically insignificant. You only want that in if you're going to put in a spell lineup where aria isn't available part of the time, because aura will take in most of it. And the fact that self-hasted, I'm at 217% already. So aria is only adding 8% to my overhaste, whereas it's giving the full benefit to probably pets, things like that. Anyways, this just forms the basis for what goes into my melody. I will now move on to the next segment. So when you're working out your melody, there are certain kind of things you need to keep in mind. Amplification, if you want that in your melody, that's going to last about 69 seconds. It should last 1 minute, but for some reason, I get about 69 seconds out of it. Your mileage may vary. So if we assume it's 69 seconds, you can play amplification and then 22 other songs before you need to refresh amplification. Chants last 24 seconds, so you can play your 4 chants and then 5 other songs before your chants will start to drop. War March and aria, and I misspelled aria there, but I'm not going to change the chart because I'm lazy, last about 30 seconds, as do most of your songs. So you can do War March, aria, and then 9 other songs before you need to refresh War March and aria. Insults, you can cast 2 insults every 6 seconds because you can do Sathir's and one of your current high-level insults. They don't share a timer. And insults have a 6-second refresh time and add approximately 15,000 DPS per insult. That's based on doing 135,000 points of damage divided by the 6 seconds. And that DPS goes to every player who is doing direct spell damage or direct melee damage and the non-swarm pets. So it can be pretty significant if you've got 6 people all attacking a mob. Then you're talking 90,000 DPS per insult. If you're doing 2 insults, it can add a lot of DPS to the group, especially if you're in a hot raid melee group. You want to work in as many insults as you can. On the other hand, insults take mana, and that will drain you of mana very quickly. Now, the goal is a melody where we can fit in all the songs we want to fit in, plus as many insults as we can fit in and we can manage. And as you start working with these facts, you're going to realize that there's no perfect melody. This is my attempt, and I change it from time to time. And if you read the chart, you'll see kind of here's what the results of this particular melody are. Amplification is up most of the time. War March, aria, they're up most of the time. Chants are up most of the time. And I'm getting off 6 insults every 72 seconds. Well, crescendo isn't refreshing as much as it could be. Because I'm not a raiding bard, this isn't a big issue. Crescendo really matters in the raid environment where you have you don't do out of combat timers because you have these raid timers going off, and you need to recover mana any way you can. Then it becomes more important. I'll do a short video that shows me using this particular melody, and then go on to the next segment. So this is just an example of using this long extended melody. What you want to focus on is War March up most of the time? Is aria up most of the time? What's going on with amplification? Depending upon, like if I take a gap between a fight, a combat or something, because of where amplification falls in my melody, it may drop Most of the time it's going to be up. Here I should have hit my melody as I was moving to the next mob. That might result in amplification refreshing in time. I didn't do that. But, this is a fairly forgiving melody. As I said, in between when you've got the melody playing, it's just going to do the songs that were in red on my chart, the non-combat, not the chants, not the insults. And so you can quickly refresh amplification and some of those other songs in between battles if you keep melody running. Don't have a mob target it, like you're pulling and you're running back and you've got a mob target it, because you'll get summoned. And so it's better to if you're going to have a melody playing on coming back from a pull, don't have that mob targeted. Probably more than you need to see on how these work. I, of course, pull them back to this area to avoid ads, though I do get an occasional double here if I'm just playing around. And on to my next chart, which gets into sort of wilder ideas from melody. So finally, let's get a little, as I say, get a little wild and crazy. Maybe you want to do more than just crescendo and amplification. Maybe you like the fact that dirge and requiem, for instance, last for 2 minutes. How would you work those into a melody? These are just examples. Well, you might not. Instead, you might do a second melody key, something that, I have it called an income melody, and I don't really use it that much, but you've got it there. And you could hit that, and then it's going to hit dirge and requiem, which lasts 2 minutes. It'll, hit crescendo. It'll have amplification last for a minute. And then when you start the fight, you hit your regular melody key, which may or may not do your epic and fierce eye, and then it goes into your long cycle melody. So this is just a way to theorize about how can I do different things. Then it's going to last for 2 minutes. You only have to hit that second melody key occasionally, maybe when you're on the back, coming back from a pull, or you're waiting for somebody to come in because they're pulling. Why did you let somebody else pull? I don't know. There's even kind of wilder is maybe you want to do maximum insults. So you do just your chant. Your first chant, then insult, insult, second chant, insult, insult, third chant, insult, insult, fourth chant. And just because of the way they refresh, it goes back to number 1. You're not doing aria. You're not doing war march. You're not doing amplification. This is just a very short little burn melody. And then you've got a second melody that does 10, 5, and 6, and maybe, whatever you want to put into that second melody that you're getting ready to tackle named. Nobody's going to go until they tell you to go. So you just run this melody. And they're all fresh. Then you go into your burn melody. If it turns out to be a longer fight, you can go back and hit your first melody again. The reason you might do this is because if you get stunned when you hit a melody, it's going to start from the very beginning. And if you get stunned a couple times in a row, you're just constantly refreshing war march, aria, and amplification. You might want to have a little more control so that if amplification, which lasts for 30 seconds, is up, if aria and war march are up, you just hit your burn melody, chant, insult, insult, chant, insult, insult, chant, insult, insult, chant. And if you get stunned when aria and war march are fading, instead of hitting burns, you go back and you hit your second melody. These are just kind of theory type things that you can do to make a bard play the way you want the bard to play. I'll give you a short little video showing that. Again, I don't do all of this, except I might have a 10, 5, 6 second melody that I do because I want to be able to keep the mob target. I hit that as I'm running back on a pull. It's only 3 songs. It means amplification will be up. It means that aria and war march are probably fresh, and I don't trigger my epic and fierce eye, and I don't hit the mob as I'm running back. So that would be why I might have an incoming second melody. That's it. I'll show you a little video of how this might work, and then I'm done. You guys have a great rest of the week. So this last video is just to give you a visual idea of what I'm talking about when I say here we've got the second melody. In my case, it casts crescendo, amplification, war march, and then aria. I find for these incoming 3 or 4 songs is about the most you want to do. You can go longer. If you have long pulls, you're a slower group perhaps, but this is just to get everything refreshed. You notice it doesn't trigger my epic. It doesn't trigger my fierce eye. So I might be sitting here waiting for a mob to come in or coming back on a pull, and I would use this incoming epic or incoming melody, the second melody. Then when I actually get here, I hit, off goes my epic and fierce eye, and then it starts into my regular melody. And at this point, amplification is up, war march is up, aria is up, crescendo is probably waiting to refresh. There are reasons to do this. And like I said, if you want to work with some of the longer 2-minute songs and play around and incorporate more songs into your melody, this is one way to do it. Talk to you guys later.